have a lot of people signed up. Some people will be on the phone.
Welcome,
I would
everyone.
like to thank.
This is Nikki Clarke, and we are here for New York African Week, Restaurant Week, and I'm going to hand it over to Camille to start.
Thank you, Nikki. Mine says Nikki, but I'm actually Camille. On behalf of our team at the P2P Life and African Restaurant Week, I want to thank all the panelists who have taken time to come and join us from South Africa and the US. And Nikki, thank you so much for moderating this for us. We would like to welcome Nikki, who is the founder and producer of the Nikki Clarke Show, a huge community activist, and we in Canada know her as the Canadian Oprah. She has her show on Afro Global TV on Bell 5 and Rogers, Mondays at noon and Tuesdays at 7. So please sign in and join Nikki on her Conversations That Matter. And Nikki is going to introduce our panelists who have some amazing expertise in the area of South Africa. And we are so excited to have all of you on board. Nikki, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the introduction, Camille. Yes, I'm Nikki Clarke, and I will be moderating this amazing segment, A Taste of South Africa. And we have a lineup of amazing panelists who will be sharing a little bit about the gems of South Africa, the food, the culture, what you can expect to travel to South Africa, the landscape, and some of the aspects, some of the history of South Africa. So you'll get a little bit of all of that in about an hour and change. So very happy to be part of that. So just a little bit about myself. As Camille shared, I'm the founder and host of the Nikki Clarke Show on Global TV, launched this September on this channel or mentioned. And I've been a community activist for 5 years and really, really interested in world travel. I believe that travel really bridges people together, and I'm looking forward to when that time comes to do more travel in the future. So welcome. And please, if you have any questions or if you have any aha moments, please put the chat between myself and Camille. We'll answer those questions as we go along. But as to kick everything off, we'd like to please, say a huge thank you to the panel sponsors, Camille Jocsak and Randi Winters, who are the founders of Travel, Lifestyle, Event, Social Entrepreneur, the company Plan Perfection. Been, doing fearless work together. They are also a strong community advocates, and really happy that they invited me to moderate this segment with you. So please, our hand of applause to our co-sponsors, panel sponsors, Camille and Randi. Thank you very much for putting this together. All right, so I'd like to introduce our first panelist. He is a private chef, and he is one of the most amazing chefs coming out of Africa. His name is Chef Prince Sithole. So as I introduce you, if you could please give us an introduction, tell us anything that you want to share with about in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Chef Sithole?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Chef Prince Sithole. I'm based in Johannesburg, South Africa. I'm a private chef or a foodie or a blogger. I do mostly African cuisine. I promote African cuisine in every part of this world. Also, we do tours in terms of actually private dining experience with me. I go as the name Royal Chef. As my name says, I'm Prince. So we do all those private dining experiences with people that want to come and experience authentic African cuisine. So we go really wild to actually research. And actually, when you are having that experience, you have those African flair moments. You've got your live fire, you've got your African dancers that are busy dancing while we are busy cooking there for you, and also the tribal cultures in terms of actually telling the history of South Africa and the culinary journey as we go forward.
Okay.
But
Thank you so much.
basically, I am.
And I'd love to introduce our next panelist.
No worries.
She is a tour operator and ground handler advisor. Please welcome Sulakhe Ndebele. Can you share a little bit about yourself?
Sanibona, everyone. That is hello in Zulu in South Africa, one of the distinctive languages that we have. My name is Sulakhe, and I hail from the city of Durban, the KZN Kingdom, the Zulu Kingdom. That's what we call it. I'm very grateful for the opportunity that we have this evening. And I come with expertise in the inbound travel industry in terms of preparing itineraries for internationals, authentic itineraries, tailor-made itineraries, and I'm looking forward to engaging with the whole lot of you and to share my expertise of the country itself. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Our next panelist is Charlene Pepler. Charlene is a winemaker and guide. Please share with us a little bit of yourself.
Charlene, you need to unmute yourself.
Charlene, could you unmute yourself, please?
Sorry, apologies. Apologies. Let's try again. There we go.
Do you mind just repeating what you said?
Yes, thanks, Nikki. Sorry about that. Yeah, so my name's Charlene. I live in Cape Town, South Africa. I did study winemaking at the University of Stellenbosch, and I worked in the wine industry for a few years. But through wine, I started traveling, and I really gravitated to the travel industry, and basically started working as a tour guide. So for the last 10 years, I've been kind of combining my two passions of wine and travel, and working as a wine specialist guide, more guiding really than making wine, but also focusing on the culinary. Cape Town, of course, famous for fantastic food, being a diasporic city. We've got such amazing influences of food. So I focus very much on culinary as well as food on my tours. So yeah, that's a bit about me.
Okay, thank you so much, Charlene. And we also have another wonderful guest, Deborah Eckhardt, with us. She's an expert on South African culture. Deborah, can you just share a little bit about yourself, please?
Yeah, sure. My name's Deborah, and I have a company called Wild African Ventures, which is 30 years old this year. And I work closely with P2P to make sure that their clients have the best trips ever. And I'm based in Los Angeles, so I coordinate the North American clients that want to go to South Africa and work with Sulakhe and Charlene and Chef to combine and make sure we get the best itinerary that the clients want, the vacationers want, and put it all together. So it's very exciting. And I'm sort of in the middle, putting the two worlds together. And I enjoy it so much. I've been doing it for about 40 years now. I'm from Durban and just absolutely love this industry. So looking forward to getting back to things when the COVID settles down and we can get travelers back there, because people are itching to go and travel again. So thank you.
Awesome. All right, wonderful. Thank you so much, Deborah. We'll get started and find out a little more about South Africa. So let's explore. First, like to discover the history of South Africa. That kind of opens up the story, and we can delve into more of the gems of South Africa. I was wondering if I could pose this to Sulakhe. Can you tell us very briefly about South African history?
Thank you so much, Nikki, for the opportunity. South Africa is very well known for its renowned history, and the most highlights of South Africa and the world knows is the late Dr. Sulakhe Ndebele, who is our first Black elected president. South Africa comes with a history it's basically a success story, because it comes with a history from pain to happiness, because we come from a colonized, being a colonized country to a country that has found its own democracy throughout the whole process. And in that, we call ourselves the Rainbow Nation, mainly because of the different cultures that we have. To begin with, we are a land that has 11 official languages. So that is a distinctive thing on its own. And besides that, the country itself has a lot to offer in terms of the tourism side of things. We pride ourselves with our renowned warm beaches and our mountainous areas, and also the bush. And everyone who comes to the country, we tailor make packages suited for their ideal needs. Can you hear me? I can't hear properly. Can you hear? Nikki, can you hear me?
Okay. Is there anyone else who'd like to add to that description? Thank you so much, Sulakhe, for that. Any of the other panelists like to add to South African history?
Okay. I'll add into that. I would say South Africa is a very diverse place. Throughout the process of actually gaining democracy and all that, we've actually opened our doors to the world in terms of actually welcoming people, in terms of learning our history and learning our cultures. So in that whole process and situations of history happening, we've actually grown to take more of our culture to the world in terms of, okay, you come to places like Johannesburg, you've got a diverse of people. You've got people from Togo, you've got people from Egypt, you've got people from Ethiopia. That on its own, it means it's a rainbow nation. It's actually bringing people together to unite in one place and actually live accord. That's the basic history of what is South Africa in culture-wise.
All right, thank you so much, Chef. So let's go to our next question. Actually, I think it's going to be a round table. Everyone can share a little bit of this question. I'm going to ask Deborah first. Tell me a little bit about where you're from in South Africa and what makes it so unique.
I'm from Durban, just like Sulakhe, and Durban is like, I always compare these. I say Johannesburg's like New York, Durban's like Miami, and Cape Town's like San Francisco, but a lot cleaner. And so Durban, growing up, it was a wonderful place. It's got the beachfront, like the Golden Mile, and it's got the huge Indian population of South Africa. So you've got the curries and the spices and that culinary experience that people don't really expect to find in South Africa. You know, you're looking for sort of the African, and you're looking for the traditional sort of British kind of food. But you know, when you hit Durban, you have got those spices and things, and the spice markets. So it's very, very interesting. It's got the long Golden Mile, which is beautiful, the beachfront area. And then you've got north of that, just 10 minutes out of town, is Umhlanga Rocks, and that's grown up tremendously. And then further north, in the whole KwaZulu sort of area, you've got game reserves. Sithole is the oldest game reserve in South Africa. You find the white rhino in that area. And also you've got the, which is a World Heritage Site, is the St. Lucia wetlands area. And, you know, you get turtles hatching there, baby turtles and things you can see. And there are all sorts of things. So there's a lot of magical wildlife. Most people gravitate towards the Kruger National Park region for a safari, but the KwaZulu-Natal offers a lot in the way of safari as well. So yeah, that's where I'm from. And just, it's humid. The temperature is usually humid in Durban. So it was hard, you know, I did spend 7 years in Johannesburg before I left the country, but going back to Durban, it was, you know, quite a change in climate. So you do get those. Johannesburg has magnificent climate. Durban, I find a bit hot and humidity these days. And Cape Town has got, you know, being the very tip of the entire continent of Africa, Cape Town's got that, you get the gusty winds and you get, you know, rain and things like that. But for the most part, Cape Town's got beautiful weather as well.
Thank you so much, Deborah. Can I have Jeff Sithole, can you share a little bit about where you're from in South Africa and what makes you unique?
Sorry, I did not hear that. Is the question coming to me?
Could you tell us a little bit about where you're from in South Africa? What makes it unique?
Oh, no worries. So I'm from Johannesburg, which is mostly the central part, as Deborah says. It's almost like the New York of South Africa. It's a place where it's a really high place where everyone is here to work, but it's also fun because everyone is around. It's, as I said, it's a diversity place. So Johannesburg is more of a New York kind of place. It's free. It's as Sulakhe said, it's more of a rainbow nation. So we enjoy the diversity of culinary, enjoy the diversity of food, to say African cuisine, because now I'm able to cook different types of cuisines that are from Africa that I actually develop myself in terms of actually making modern to appear in the global space, to say, because I know African food is never really portrayed as good it's supposed to be out there in terms of actually putting into a modern place, those fancy plates, but it's still African authentic food. So hence why I say we are really diverse in terms of actually learning African cuisine. You can get all that in Johannesburg, just in one place.
Okay, excellent. And I have to say that the internet is fantastic for bringing people together, like we're doing right now, from continent to continent. And because we are, working with a different time zone, and so South Africa, Canada, and beyond, there may be some kind of internet connection issues. We're working through them. So thank you so much for your patience. Great. So same question, Charlene, can you tell us where you're from and what makes it unique?
Thanks, Nikki. Yeah, so like I said, I'm from Cape Town. I think a lot of people probably know Cape Town as I would say one of the most wonderful travel destinations in the world. Always happy to come back home. And yeah, so it's a wonderfully unique city. I think one of the most wonderful things for me is the fact that it is this peninsula, right? So we're surrounded by ocean on all sides, and we have, of course, Table Mountain, one of the new 7 wonders of nature, slap bang in the middle of the city. So this backdrop all the time. And yeah, so nature is really at the core of it. And then the city itself is very vibrant, jam-packed, so much happening. When it comes to food, to the culinary, it's really a standout city. Like so many restaurants, like you just can't believe it. It's like I always try and keep up to date with what's going on, but it's, you know, okay, obviously now we're going through a very difficult time, but usually Cape Town, you know, 10 new restaurants every 6 months. You're like, okay, you need to go find out what's new where. Lots of interesting influences. Of course, you know, you can find any kind of African cuisine, but also very much ocean-based seafood. One of the things I like to do a lot with friends, we're very much outdoorsy, so we'll maybe go and go diving, get some fish, and, you know, we just barbecue it next to the ocean. So you can have very much an outdoor lifestyle while still living in the city. Yeah, so I think it's a super unique place. I think most people, one thing I can say is when I take guests around, you know, they always say it's better than they could have imagined. You know, it's just such a gorgeous place. So can just highly recommend anyone coming here.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much, Charlene. And Sulakhe, please tell us a little about where you're from and what makes it so special.
Hi, everyone. I'm also from Durban, so basically I'm going to be saying the same thing that Deborah has been saying. It's basically Durban is in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, the province that is well known for the origins of the Zulu people, the Zulu tribe that everyone knows about in the history books. But the one thing that I love, it's the weather, it's the warm people, no pun intended. It's the warm people that we have in the city. It's the diverse cultures that we have. It's I call it my little world in one country. I mean, one province. We've got a few things that you can do within the province, which are very distinctive. We've got various cultural backgrounds. It's the city of Durban on its own is a metro on its own, so you get a lot of people coming in for work purposes. So it's a bit of it's, as much as it's not as the lifestyle is not like Joburg, but it's slowly becoming a very active city, mainly because we also have a lot of direct international flights coming into into the city, which also creates a lot of awareness with internationals coming through for the locals and internationals experiencing the culture of the province. I think it's one of the warmest provinces in SA, and we're very known for surfing and diving as well. So it's a city with a lot of opportunities. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So I'm going to ask a question now about the food. I'm a big foodie, and I like to explore the textures and the color and the aromas of different type of spices, and I would love for Chef tell us a little bit about the culinary gems of South Africa.
So what's in trend now? It's mostly Western African food. Things like your goat pepper, we've got jollof rice and all that thing. But it also depends with the province that you're in. In terms of like Cape Town, they do a lot of seafood dishes. They don't really dig really much in terms of African cuisine. They are really into seafood, but there's also that diversity of people now that are flocking into Cape Town, where you actually get different types of cuisines. We also have things like your Matemba. We've got Matemba, it's called Kapenta in Malawi and also in Mozambique. We've got your peri chicken, which is from Mozambique. We've got Ethiopian food where you get injera with dorowat. You go to Egypt, you get your tagines, you get your yassa wings, you get all those other things. So at the moment, we are really in trend in terms of actually modernizing African cuisine. So every little one of those dishes that you used to grow up eating in terms of African cuisine, now they've got a modern twist in terms of actually making it appear really good into your eye, because they say you eat with your eyes first. Thank you, Nikki.
All right. Okay, thank you so much. That sounds very enticing. And if I can see that correctly, it's like a bottle of wine sitting beside you, Chef. So that makes me want to ask Charlene some questions about South African wines. Can you tell us a little about the wine market in South Africa? And also, I think I'd like to know a little bit about golfing. Can you tell us both?
Hi, Nikki, thanks. Yeah, so I can definitely cover a bit of wine. Golfing, unfortunately, not my my forte. But yeah, I guess my mom's been playing golf for 20 years, so I guess that counts for something. So yeah, with wine, regards to wine, South Africa is really on the map, I think, when it comes to wines. We actually, you know, so we're obviously a new world wine producing country. So coming from the Southern Hemisphere, we are more of a younger in that sense, you know, place for producing wine. But the reality is that people don't realize is that we are the oldest of the new world wine producing countries. So if you're looking at obviously Australia and America and South America, we are actually much more established. We've been making wine and growing vines for 300 years. So, you know, since the Dutch landed here, one of the first things they did was plant some vines, get some wine made, you know, like the water wasn't safe to drink. They needed to drink some alcohol, you know. So it was definitely something that they established very soon on. But, you know, the wine industry definitely was more so established by the French Huguenots who arrived about 40 years after the Dutch, 1695, and, you know, settling in a little beautiful town, Franschhoek, one of the most beautiful towns to visit, one of my favorite places to take people, tucked in the mountains. And they really started focusing on production of red wines as well, bringing in barrels from the north, because that's one thing they made a bit of a mistake, was to use first thinking the Dutch planted loads of you know, oak trees, thinking they'll be able to use the oaks here, but our summers were too hot, so they can't use the South African oaks. So they imported the barrels, and they really like took the wine to a higher level. We produce a large quantity. Obviously, the winemakers have gone through a very difficult time during COVID, because one of the craziest things, I guess, that was brought into South Africa was an alcohol ban. I think that was the one thing that upset people the most, that during this crazy time, we couldn't even have a glass of wine. I mean, like what, you know, it was very, very trying times. So, and for the winemakers, it was very, very difficult. Wineries struggled a lot. But people constantly trying and reinventing themselves a bit. But they, you know, we produce a big amount. We export 60% of our wine. So, I mean, one thing you guys can do in America now is absolutely support the South African wine industry, please, you know, buy our wines, because we need to get those guys out of a very dark place that they went in those months of no, not allowed to sell any wines. And our wines are just fantastic. We have many different little regions. I mean, I can go on and on. I know we shouldn't talk too long, but you know, you should come, people should come and visit. I have itineraries that I've worked on that's like a 9-day food and wine tour through different little regions. You know, you can really get into depth, different regions providing really, really unique terroir and, you know, amazing like specialist cultivar regions as well. So really some fantastic wines in South Africa. If there's any more questions about wine, I'm happy to answer.
Charlene, you brought really good points, and I want to ask you, just curious about pairing. Can you advise us as to what kind of pairings would work with wines?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I've worked with a lot, and I always think there's many options when it gets to that. You know, people tend to think white wine goes with fish and chicken, red wine goes with red meat, but actually, you know, there's a lot more. There's a lot more you can do with that. You know, it can really get fascinating. I'm sure Chef can actually also, you know, elaborate a lot on that. For me, some of my favorite pairings is something we're very famous for in South Africa, is a dessert wine called Noble Late Harvest. It's also something that they made since the beginning of making wine in South Africa. They take Chenin Blanc, which is our most produced grape, and they make a dessert wine from it. It goes through a type of rot called noble rot with a fungus, so it doesn't sound very wonderful, but it turns out to be this beautiful, really honey flavored, almost or honey scented, very intricate flavors dessert wine. But it's not only sweet, it's sour as well, and that balances. I just love that with cheese, like brie, blue cheese, any kind of strong cheeses. Like that's just like heaven in your mouth, like a really wonderful pairing. And yeah, something like a rosé. Rosé is something we're also very famous for now. People tend to think rosés should be sweet and like uber fruity, but actually we like it very dry, like the French style, light in color, very light, and you know, dry and almost like a nice acidity to it. So that works really well with something like a meringue, like a pavlova, fruit pavlova, like a dessert, strawberries. You know, it really like works beautifully together. But then of course, like the standards, like I said,
Okay.
you know, your shot.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Excellent. Getting hungry, and very thirsty. Prince, Chef, could you tell us a little bit, expand a little bit more of what Charles was saying about the pairings and food?
The pairings, it's almost a new thing in terms of African cuisine. We really didn't use much wine in terms of when we are cooking our food. It's just basic food actually. We only have some kind of spices to blend with them in terms of when you go to Northern African, that's when you get your turmeric, that's where you get your saffron and all those. But wine is almost a new thing in terms of when you are pairing food in terms of African cuisine. But now it's in terms of, okay, now we're bringing it into a modern world where we're actually playing around with our food in terms of, we've got a dish called boikos. I think Charlene knows about it. It's mostly they do it in Cape Town. I'm drinking this Melo. It's from Morgenster. It's a company from Stellenbosch, Somerset West. This you can easily pair it with your red meat mostly, because it's a really mild red wine. It's not really sharp, but it's really mild in terms of cooking and actually drinking. So what I usually say to people is, you need to have a specific glass to actually drink your wine that you really understand. Take time to keep it in your palate and really understand the wine before you actually start cooking with it, because not everyone can be paired with food. Some you need to drink, but your food is still playing with some spices and some beautiful herbs there, where you actually combining the whole two. It's almost like merging, as we are saying, it's food and wine. It's wine pairing with food. But yeah, in terms of sweet rolls, we know people like it as fruity. They always call it fruity, but there's now elements where you actually put it in desserts and it actually tastes good when you get to marinate your strawberries in that sweet rosé. Also the red wine, the dry red wine, you can easily now add it into your chocolate and it brings that fruitiness and that really deep, dark flavor of those grapes that have been mushed up together. Yeah, I think that's basically the food and wine pairing of African cuisine. We're not really there in terms of actually pairing, but we're playing around with the ingredients now. It's really interesting.
Did someone say chocolate? That's my kryptonite. Thanks so much, Charlene and Chef, for making me extremely hungry. But I wanted to ask Deborah, can you tell us a little bit about the golfing? I've seen some beautiful pictures of the golf grounds in South Africa. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, golfing, you can do it everywhere in South Africa. There's some beautiful golf courses in all the major cities. And also there's a special one, fan court area, and George on the garden route. So golfers always include the garden route when they, touring, because they do take in those spectacular courses. We had the famous golfer Gary Player many years ago, and he designed a bunch of golf courses. We've also got one up at Sun City that is a fabulous area to be able to golf and then also do some game drives in the evening or the early mornings. So you have a combination there. And then also golfers need to understand they don't have to schlep their bag of golf clubs to South Africa. They can hire them at most golf courses, and whatever they need for the golfing, we arrange it, beforehand to make sure that everything will be waiting and ready for them when they get there. So that's it, basically. Fabulous weather for golfing, and
right.
Ernie Els is also a great golfer, so people know all about him. So yeah, it's a popular destination for golfing. Thanks, Nikki.
Okay, wonderful. I'm going to ask this question now, Sulakhe. I know that you're well versed in South African history, and thank you for sharing what you know with us. But I'm wondering if you are also able to share a little bit about what's happening right now. I mean, pre-COVID, but for people who are interested in relocating to South Africa, do you know what the process is, and can you give us a little insight on those who are interested in migrating to South Africa?
Okay. Nikki, I'm not well vested in the relocation part of things, but I know that the first points of call would be the Department of Home Affairs. So you get in touch with the immigration office, and basically it's you asking for permanent residency within the country. It is a process on its own, and it also comes with a little bit of requirements, like they would require you not to have any criminal record, and they would also do a background check if you've been deported from SA in the past, And also another big thing is if you can fully support yourself. And also bearing that in mind, why are you coming into the country? Do you have skills that are going to uplift the country? Are you coming here for, are you employed? Sometimes you get people wanting to relocate because of job opportunities. So they do a better check with that. And there are other things that probably people coming through here to open up businesses. So it is a process on its own, and then you have to know which part of the country you're coming to, and also the cost of living is different, and I know that in Durban and Pretoria, it's one of the cities that are deemed as much more affordable as opposed to Johannesburg and Cape Town cost-wise. So your first point of call would be to be in touch with the Department of Home Affairs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And another question for you, Sulakhe, when tourists come to South Africa and they connect with you about tours, what's a typical tour like? Where would you take them, and how long is the tour?
It literally depends on you and how many days you have. The major or the biggest attraction that everyone comes into the country for is Cape Town. They come through into Cape Town, and the main thing that people are interested in is Robben Island because of its history. You'll do Toby Mountain, and you do Wineland Spurs. You do it depends exactly what they're into. So basically, when they come through, we just look at the duration, the time that they have within the country, the budget that we have in the country, and how we can enhance their requirements. So in Cape Town, we definitely do. We'll definitely do Table Mountain. We'll definitely do Robben Island. We'll do the Winelands. And there's various options that we can do as well. We visit Boulders Beach. So various options are there, dependent on the duration that you have within the country. So and another thing, if we do have good connectivities between Cape Town and the bush. So we can either do a combo of Cape Town and the bush. That's if someone wants to go on safari. But if you have families, we always try and twist and go towards the garden routes. I think Deborah would agree with me, mainly because of the Eastern Cape being malaria-free. So we tend to steer towards that with families. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Well, I really interested in knowing if our participants, those who've joined us today, the South African panel, do have any questions. Let's take some questions from our members. Anyone have any questions, and is it direct to any particular panelist? Maybe you can let us know in the chat. We'll give you an opportunity to do that now. Okay, so I have a question about wine tours and food tours. Let's see, who can help us with that question? Would that be Charlene or me, Sulakhe? Who wants to field a question? Charlene, can you help with that?
Sure. What was the question? Sorry, Nikki, they're directed to you. I didn't see something in my chat.
Sorry, Charlene, they're looking for wine tours and food tours when they come to South Africa.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a lot of that on offer. So the company that I work for mainly is called New Frontiers Escapes. Sulakhe is with our offices as well. And yeah, so we offer multiple options. It really depends. I like to get a bit of like a rundown from what my clients like, which wines they like, which area, you know, what they have in mind, and then I love to tailor make itinerary. So usually they would like trust me to take people to places that I have connections with. So of course, you know, wineries that I've visited many times, winemakers that I worked with, studied with. So we have so many wonderful wine tour opportunities, different regions. Cape Town, I like to do a walking foodie tour. That's one of my favorite things. I had my own to a company called Cape Food and Wine Tours. Was famous for doing a foodie Thursday. Every Thursday, I would take people walking through the city, trying food, like street food, and you know, all different types of local food, local gin, local wine, chocolates. So there's a lot of that kind of thing, you know, in Cape Town. You can easily do a foodie tour. And of course, if we do wine tour, food will always be included as well, because we always end up eating at a marvelous restaurant. The winelands are well known for having some of the top restaurants in South Africa. So, you know, you're not gonna go hungry when you're in the winelands as well. So it usually comes hand in hand.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. I have a question about mobility. Travelers with mobility issues, who can tell us about some of the accommodations that can be made for them?
I can gladly do so, Nikki.
Sulakhe? Sorry, Sulakhe.
Yes, I can gladly tackle that one. We basically would request, like we would want to know what kind of mobility issues you have. To begin with, we do have touring vehicles that come adaptable for people with mobility issues. Hotels, guest houses. I think everyone is steering and accommodating everyone, whether you have a mobility problem or not. So it's not, it wouldn't actually be a hindrance if any of the people coming have mobility constraints. You just let us know the level of mobility and we'll make everything work. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. You know what, I have a question about safaris. There are different kinds of safaris, and can you share a little bit about that? I'll probably ask Sulakhe again.
I'm not too sure whether Deborah wants to tackle this one. So let's we share. We have different levels of experience. So I'll let Debbie handle this one, if that's okay with her.
Thanks, Sulakhe. Can you hear me? Okay, for safaris, the thing with South Africa, there's so much to see and so much to do that when North Americans go to South Africa, they've only got 2 weeks vacation usually. So they spend 2 or 3 nights on safari because they're dying to get down to Cape Town and they want to do the Blue Train or Rovers Rail or something else, the Garden Route or Victoria Falls. And so they only spend that amount of time. If they went to East Africa, like Kenya or Tanzania, they're going to do 2 weeks solid of safari. It's just animals, animals, animals. So South Africa has so much more to offer in that respect. Most of the safaris are done in the Kruger National Park area. They're private game reserves on the border of Kruger National Park. Of course, there are named ones like the Singitas or Londolozi, Mala Mala, places like that. but there are a lot lesser known ones, which are equally as fantastic. The accommodations, they all seem to compete with each other for the better accommodations. And so every time, wherever you end up on safari, you're going to have a fantastic experience, not just with the staff at the place, the game rangers, the trackers, but also the animals. So no place is lacking. Everything, you can't guarantee animals, but most of the time you see the big five within 2 days. Then you've got the malaria-free zones. There's one up in that northern region, but you've also got in the Cape, I think, I don't know if Charlene mentioned it, or Sulakhe, in the Eastern Cape, there's along the garden route, you've got some that are malaria-free areas. So often I've had families with young children and they don't want the children having to take tablets. So we put them in those reserves, and again, they see all the animals. Now, a lot of people as well combine Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe, with Chobe National Park in Botswana. So they do a round trip. You can fly now very easily from Mpumalanga in the Eastern Transvaal. You fly directly into Livingstone, Zambia, and we take you across that world famous bridge into Zimbabwe and spend a few nights at Victoria Falls. You used to be able to ride elephants at Vic Falls, but you don't anymore. You just, you can spend time with them, but you don't ride them. And then you cross over 1.5 hour road transfer into the country of Botswana, and you're in Chobe National Park. And Chobe has like 50,000 elephant, huge prides of lion and buffalo and every other species, and 420 different species of birds. So you've got this combination where you can go on safari straight away. If you arrived in Johannesburg, do your safari, and then go up to Victoria Falls, go across to Chobe. So you get two completely different safari regions. And then from Chobe, you can fly down to Cape Town and end there. And Cape Town's got magnificent shopping, and people usually want to buy a crate of wine. And there's so much, you know, you leave the shopping till the end. So Cape Town's a nice way to end the trip. And so it's a good combination. Another thing I want to add, sometimes people are collecting countries. They've got their bucket list. They want to do all the countries of the world in their lifetime. And in that Southern Africa region, you can do 8 countries. South Africa has landlocked countries, the Kingdom of Swaziland and Lesotho, which easily accessible. And then you've got Namibia, the desert. It used to be Southwest Africa. Then you've got Botswana, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Mozambique. They right all bordering South Africa. So if you're collecting countries, go to South Africa, because you can add another 7 onto your South African trip. So yeah, that's about the safari. So safari is magnificent region.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Deborah.
Okay.
Awesome. I wanted to ask a question. I'm going to turn that to Charlene. Can we know anything about overnight tours in winery overnight tours? Do they exist? And if they do, tell us.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the great things about the wine regions are all the amazing accommodation options out there. I would say one of my favorite, definitely recommended places that I mentioned earlier, Franschhoek, means French Corner. It's a wonderful little wine region. It's about 1.5 hours from Cape Town. So often what people would do is they would spend a few nights in Cape Town. And I always tell them, don't just do a day. Don't do a day of wine. It's way too short. You know, you have to stay in the winelands. So I absolutely recommend that. That's thanks for the question, because I always, you know, say to people, I wish they spoke to me before they came, because they always regret not having stayed in the winelands. It's the best way to do it. There's wonderful accommodations. And if you don't want to do the more, so Franschhoek's one of the more well-known, like Stellenbosch. Stellenbosch is kind of the main one that people know about, which is only 1 hour from Cape Town, sometimes 45 minutes. So that's also great. You're just right there. But, you know, if you want to go a little bit further, and I really do like to go to smaller regions like Elgin up in the mountains, or you go to the Swartland, all these different regions, then definitely advisable to do a multi-day, to stay over on a winery. There's places we take people where the winemaker will do a pairing of wine with the food, with the chef as his wife, you know, and they do the food and wine pairing for dinner, and you stay over there and you wake up in the vineyard. So yes, I would definitely recommend overnight.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I've got that bug. I can't wait to go traveling, especially South Africa, #1 on my bucket list for places to travel. And I'm just really so grateful for everyone taking the time to share your passion for South Africa. I feel that from you, and thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your expertise with us. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go around, and I'd like for you to please tell us how we can connect with you online. If you want to share your phone numbers, your website information, please, whatever contact information you can have, that we can stay connected. And I want to thank everyone who was able to offer a wonderful gift. So if you are gifting, please mention what it is. And yeah, so start with Chef. Thank you so much for your participation. Tell us, how can people reach you? And thank you so much for your prize. You offered us something, and what was it?
Hi again, everyone. I'll be offering a virtual cookout. I'm hosting a virtual live session tomorrow. I'll be doing a South African dish. Also, we're busy speaking about wine. I'll be pairing the food and the wine tomorrow. So it's a dish called boigos. So we're going to do a traditional dish called tripe, and also cow heels. It's called manqina in South Africa. And the tribe is called mohodu. So I'll be pairing that tomorrow, but everyone can get me at Chef Prince Sithole, at chef_prince_Sithole on Instagram, and also on Facebook. You can also get me as Chef Prince Sithole. And basically on Google also, you can go find out. There's a bunch of things that I'm doing, and also I've got a YouTube channel as Chef Prince Sithole.
Okay, thank you so much. And let's have Charlene Pepler. Thank you so much for your participation today, and everything that we are to learn about wine and tours. So please, how can we reach out to you, and have you, if you have it for us? I know I'd like a coffee, whatever you have.
Thanks, Nikki. Yeah, sorry, I don't actually have any books or anything to give away at the moment. You know, like I said previously, like my main career is a tour guide. So having been unemployed since March. So yeah, at the moment, just kind of working through making an ends meet. But very excited to have people back here in South Africa once things kick up again. And then you're welcome to reach out to me. You know, I think the best way, because I'm a tour guide that works through agents, to reach out to people, to Sulakhe and to Deborah, and to just say, I would like Charlene as my wine guide, and then they can put you in connection with me. But you can also find me on Charlene Pepler on Facebook, and let me know if you're coming, and I can put you in connection with the people who puts the tour together. So that's the great thing about my job. I've got wonderful people in the office that puts the tours together, and they just give me a buzz and say, we've got some great guests for you. They want to go on a wine tour with you. This is the things they like, and then I make the magic happen. So yeah, it's best to reach out to them in the office, and they can find me.
Thank you so much. And Sulakhe, please tell us how people can connect with you.
People can connect with me on my Facebook. The handle is Sulakhe Ndebele. The same is my Instagram is the same, Sulakhe Ndebele. And then my email address is sulakhe@newfrontierstours.co.za. But the nicest part is for you guys on your end, there is Deborah for us. So you can actually to be in contact with us from your end, it would have to come through from Deborah. So yeah, but I am available if you would like us to ring me. I'm available, and my details are on my handle. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And Deborah, how can people connect with you?
Okay. First of all, I just want to mention a couple of things we didn't cover in Cape Town. Besides that foodie tour that Charlene was mentioning, which is very popular, we also have cooking classes. So people can do some cooking of South African foods. That's very important because people love doing that. And then there are also sidecars. Cape Town is spectacular. It's got this ocean drive right around the ocean, and you can take a sidecar and journey through there, a whole day trip. You can go into the winelands with the sidecars. And another thing at Boulders Beach are the penguins. Anyone with children love going to see the penguins. So those are 4 things in Cape Town that are must-dos. When you're in the Stellenbosch region and you've overnighted for a few nights in Franschhoek, you can take a helicopter ride, a scenic helicopter ride back to Cape Town. So we take your luggage in a vehicle because you're only allowed light luggage on the helicopter, and you take that ride back to Cape Town and land in the waterfront. It's just absolutely fabulous way to end a stay in the wine region. So my details, my website is wildafricanventures.com, but I would be reachable again through P2P, Paradise to Perfection, with Camille. He works with me closely, so that's the best way, but you can look at itineraries on my website. And then I'm offering this coffee table book. It's 275 pages. And it's a fabulous big book called The Empty Eden. It was first done as a picture book for African animals, but it turned out to be the plight of African animals. So whoever wins that, I'll be happy to send it off to them this week. And thanks for the opportunity for today. It's been wonderful.
Lovely. Thanks so much. And Camille and Randi. Camille first, how can people connect with you? And then Randi, where can people reach?
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming on and doing this amazing panel. It has been enlightening, and I cannot wait to get to South Africa. It was supposed to happen. Unfortunately, COVID happened. I do want to say that I have sent many groups to South Africa. Our last one that Deborah worked with me on was 19 people on a multi-gen family, and they have been ranting about it ever since. Through that, a number of their people are ready to book. So I'm excited for when all this COVID goes away and we can actually start sending people back to South Africa. So excited about all the great things. I do want to say that we will be posting this on our YouTube channel. All of the panelists will be on our website at thep2plife.com. We will be featuring some of Deborah's tours on our website as well. We currently are doing that. And of course, you can always reach out to us for future tours, or if your clients have tours. I do want to say we do have some winners for the prizes. So I think they're going to be excited to know. Chef Sithole has a one-on-one with DC Livers. She is excited and looking forward to that. And Shay has won Deborah's book. So I'm jealous. Deborah, I want one, just saying. And Nikki, we would be honored if you would present your book to Kathy. And I'm so excited for Nikki and for her show at the Nikki Clarke Show, and everything that she does for our community, for the Black community, the Canadian audience, gets herself into the politics, and she is just a real go-getter, and we really appreciate it. Chef, I can't wait to come and have you cook for me. Looking forward to that, and I'm definitely staying at the winery, so Charlene, hang on, because once I get there, I'm not leaving. So I really want to thank everybody for participating and being part of this. We do have a number of people that would like to further their education on South Africa, so we will probably be doing a more in-depth one again on some of the safaris and things like that. So again, thank you all so much for being part of this. I would like to turn it over to Randi, who is my partner in crime in the P2P life, and she can finish this off and let everybody know where we're going to next.
Hi, thank you, everybody. Again, much gratitude to the panel communicating over such large distances with technology can sometimes be challenging, so we really appreciate that. I do want to give a quick shout out before I continue. I believe that Akin Akinsanya from African Restaurant Week has been on the call, of course, with us. Would you like to say something?
Sure. Thanks, Randi. So I want to say a big thank you to everyone. Sorry, my video is not on right now because I'm running all over the place, but just want to say a big thank you. It's been very informative. I want to say a big thank you to all the panelists. This is so engaging. I want to say a big thank you to P2P. Randi, thank you very much. You made sure this happened, so thank you. I want to say a big thank you to Camille as well. At African Restaurant Week, we continue to celebrate the culture and cuisine from Africa and around the diaspora, really. And we intend to be able to bring an experience to South Africa in the new year as far as African Restaurant Week is concerned. New York African Restaurant Week finishes tomorrow, Sunday. I believe Chef Sithole is going to be doing a cooking class with us tomorrow. We're also going to have a few other cooking classes on Instagram tomorrow. So I want to say a big thank you. Thanks for the organizers, the panelists, and looking forward to doing a lot more of this. Much appreciated. Thanks.
Thank you so much. This has been, especially during COVID-19.
Excellent.
You can imagine, yeah, you can imagine how difficult that it is to try to organize. There were actually some socially distant events over last weekend. Normally, we actually do a James Beard event at James Beard House last year. It was an homage to only women chefs who were giving homage to their grandmothers. So all the recipes were family recipes that were passed down. Hopefully there'll be another opportunity to do these kind of things. We'd love to do these kind of things in South Africa as well. I just want to remind everybody that we will be doing more panels. The P2P.life.com is actually our umbrella of a lot of the other companies between Camille and myself. So when people mention different companies, paradisetoperfection.com is actually our travel arm. Under that is Travel with a Cause and Cruise with a Cause, and P2P Weddings also falls under Plan to Perfection, which is our event planning. We have P2P Lux Life, which is all of our media stuff. So please come and check out our website. There'll be lots more coming. It's a growing, amazing opportunity to share the love of travel. But even more than that, it's about travel being the hope for the future. If we don't travel and we don't meet other people, then we can't go on. You know, we're at a very critical time in our society now, and that's super important. We all can't wait to travel. I'm coming with Camille, and we're really, really excited to be able to present these kinds of opportunities. Thank you, especially to Nikki.
Okay.
And everyone else. Thank you.
Thank you. Randi, thank you so much for that. Thanks so much, Mr. Akinsanya. Appreciate you coming on and sharing, you know, the wonderful things that you're doing. We appreciate you. Again, panelists, Sulakhe Ndebele, Charlene Pepler, Deborah Eckhardt, and Chef Prince Sithole. It's a pleasure, and those who came by to support, keep supporting South Africa. You know, we're gonna make it on the other side and grow even more as all citizens. And if it wasn't already mentioned, everyone who's been on the panel today, and also those who participated, will be getting a copy of my ebook, The 9 Virtues That COVID Taught Me, Playbook for Never Giving Up. So you just have to reach out to me on email. And thank you very much. Many blessings. Have a night.
The Nikki Clarke Show, transforming lives one story at a time. If you would like to be a guest or become a part of our live studio audience, or even to become a sponsor, just go to www.nikkiclarkenetwork.com.